Here we have a sinkhole here in our limestone soil. Sometimes we have trouble. It seems like almost every year we have something somewhere. Usually they're just a small hole, maybe, I don't know, they can vary, drop down in a couple feet or maybe be a foot or two across. But this one here we found last fall right after we had chopped corn. My son was out here on the four-wheeler and came in and said, man, we got one massive sinkhole out there. And they would have just chopped right across this, like drove the equipment straight across this a couple days before that. But we actually stuck a tape measure down in here. I'm not sure, I'll try to get down in here, but it's 17 feet deep. And it's probably, I'm gonna say 10 or 12 feet wide across the whole way across the bottom there. And the hole here at the top, it's actually bigger than what you would think. I mean, here's my hand against it. It's probably 5 feet across, and if you look there along that edge, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but there's a big old massive limestone rock there, and there's another one over here on this side. And a lot of times what happens when you get a sinkhole, there's a water stream somewhere down in the ground, and it'll dry up, and then the water will wash the dirt away, and then eventually it'll settle down in. And yeah, this thing even settled a good bit more since last fall. I haven't been out here for a couple months, but today we're going to try to get a couple loads of rocks and dump in here, and then a couple load of dirt, a load or two of dirt. I'm not sure, it'd probably take at least 3 or 4 loads to fill this thing in. But so yeah, I wanted to bring a bright flashlight out here and I forgot, but you can get a little bit of an idea down in there how deep it is. If you look on the edge wall there, I think you can see it. If you look at the different color in the soil, there's probably 16 or 18 inches of topsoil there, and then it turns to clay. That's kind of how our soil is with this limestone soil. There's usually rocks mixed in under the ground, and then would be clay mixed in with that, and then at the top, yeah, most areas you'll have at least a foot of topsoil, and some areas 18 to 20 inches. If it's in a real low area, sometimes it'll be a little bit more than that, but probably a good average is 12 to 16 inches of topsoil. And yeah, like I said, over here, yeah, since I opened this up a little more, it's probably a good 8 feet across the top there. We'll be able to back our dump cart right up here and dump it right down in. But there on that side, you can probably get a little better idea if you can see that big rock there. And then there's maybe 8 or 10 inches of clay, and then the 12 to 16 inches of topsoil on top of that. Let me say a little bit more about this sinkhole too. This spot right here, we bought this farm 32 years ago. It had been in 1992. And it borders our home farm the whole way across the back. Our home farm is 194 acres, and this farm is 110. It was 120. We sold the house and barn and 10 acres off out along the road. It was pasture. 10 acres of pasture. It was really rocky. Wouldn't have ever been able to farm that. But yeah, this spot right here in this field, right in this vicinity, within say 20-30 feet, we've had trouble with sinkholes opening up over the years here, off and on. But I never seen anything like this. Yeah, it's big enough now that about drop the front end of a tractor down in there without too much trouble. But even here, when I like the sinkholes that have opened up here, usually 1 or 2 bucket loads, like skid loader bucketfuls of dirt would about fill it in, but not this one. This one here, I don't know that I've ever seen one open up this big anywhere on our farm. I've heard of them getting this bad before, but in other areas, but we've had some that would open up pretty deep, but never that far around. And yeah, we'll try to get some rocks down there in the bottom. Otherwise, if we don't put some rocks down in the bottom, the dirt will just settle down pretty quickly again. Right here you can see the boundary line between the 2 farms. Our original home farm that my mom and dad would have bought in 1958, and then yeah, there were the green, and then the field to the right where the green is, and that's triticale that we'll be chopping this spring for silage. And then the field to the left would have had corn, and we didn't plant anything in there last fall. We'll be putting corn in there again this year. Most of our ground we have on a 3-year rotation, 2 years in corn and 1 year in beans. Yeah, well, good evening. Today is March the 10th, and out here checking my springers right before we go to bed. A couple days ago I mentioned about all the springers that we had. We've had quite a few fresh here in the past week. Oh, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at my chart there, but I'm gonna guess, well, it's what we had fresh today, probably at least 10 or 12. We had 5 born today though. 3 bull calves and a heifer. Here's one of them, a red and white one. It's laying there sleeping. The mom's over here. She's actually an older cow. She's probably just calved at her, let me see, I'd have to double check, but by looking at her number, probably her 5th or 6th calf. There's another in there on the other side of the gate. She just freshened here about 2 hours ago. I actually had to pull that one. It was coming. The one front leg was turned back, so yeah, I had to help her and get that leg flipped around. And yeah, they're pretty simple when you do that. A calf, when they're normally born, is coming first, front feet first, and then the head. And once in a while they can have difficulties where the one front foot is flipped back and not coming right. Or once in a great while, and this is a little harder, is the head can sometimes catch and flip around. Foot flipped around, they're not hard at all. You just got to push them in a little bit and flip that foot around, and they're good to go. But sometimes when the head's flipped around, they can be all kinds of goofy stuff going on. Sometimes they're simple, and sometimes they can be a little more complicated. But yeah, that one did have the one front foot flipped around, but it didn't take a whole lot to get that one pulled out. And then there's 2 more over here. Let me see. That black one laying here is out of a first calf heifer. That's a bull calf. Actually, that red and white one over there, that one's a bull calf too. So I guess 3 of them are bull calves. And there was another heifer calf over here born too. We still have quite a few springers in here. I'm not sure if there's quite 20 or pretty close, at least 20 with the ones that calved. But I'm gonna guess there's 4 or 5 more here that could calve about any time. Yeah, over here is this other one. Well, there, a cow got up. There's the other one that was born. That one's actually a little heifer calf. Yeah, so anyway, there's nobody else in the middle calving right now, so guess we'll go in for the night. It'll be probably be about 5 hours till we're back out here again, till before we're getting started with the morning milk in 5.5 hours. But we keep talking about getting a camera. We'd probably have to have 2 of them set up here in our springer pen to check our springers. But yeah, we didn't do that yet, so we can just check them from in at the house would be nice. Yeah, I've said before that this channel that I want to show everything about a farm, and here's one thing, and this looks a little maybe disturbing when you first look at it if you're not familiar with farms, but right here's a cow that is having some issues. I'm not quite sure what's going on with her, but her one front leg and shoulder has some swelling, and when she lays down she'll lay out flat, and when she lays out flat she can't sit herself up, but if I help her get set up she'll jump right up and stand up. But so yeah, she looks kind of rough laying there, but she does get up and get around and goes and eats and drinks, and we did put her on a steroid called Banamine. It's supposed to reduce swelling and make them feel better. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened to her one front leg. It's kind of more in her shoulder, and kind of between her knee and her shoulder is where the swelling is. But so hopefully she'll come around and be okay. But yeah, I said before that farming is a great occupation and a great life, but it's not all roses, and I want to not going to show all the bad and the ugly, but there is things that happen that aren't nice, and yeah, but it's part of it, and life continues on. And I remember a saying my dad always had when you had issues like this, or with a cow got hurt or died, or every now and then, yeah, it's been a long time since we had this happen. I probably shouldn't even say that, but once in a while a heifer will catch her head somewhere funny and hang herself and die from that, or just any freak thing you can think about. But a saying my dad always said was, be glad it's at the barn and not the house. There's always troubles in life, but yeah, it's just part of life. And with all the cows and heifers we have around here, we're probably pushing close 700 head total. So it's, yeah, it'd be in the upper 600s or right around 700 total. So yeah, you can expect something's going to happen somewhere along the line, even though we don't like it, but that's part of it. Yeah, wasn't able to get a picture of me rolling her up, but I did get her setting up and got her to stand up. She looks kind of washed out, kind of a little thin, but yeah, her front leg there from her knee to her shoulders swollen pretty good. It's probably, I don't know if it's quite twice as big as the other leg, but it's definitely bigger. But yeah, we'll keep working with her, and I'm out of breath from sitting her up. But yeah, we'll keep working with her here and hopefully bring her around, and hopefully she'll come out and be okay. If nothing else, we can get her sent to auction and get something out of her that way. Yeah, I'm not sure where she's at in her lactation. I'd have to double check whether she's bred back or, yeah. But she definitely looks a little rough right now. If you notice a little bit, she's kind of dirty there on her one side. And it's just from laying there kind of thrashing around, trying to get up. I say thrashing around, moving around. Yeah, I'm not sure why she can't set herself back up, if it's because of that swollen leg or what, but anyhow, it's all part of it. So we'll keep working with her here for several days and see if we can get her to come around. Here's a red and white lineback that's springing really close. She's springing with her, gonna have her second calf. And yeah, she was a really good cow as a first calf heifer. Really nice looking cow with a really nice udder. And yeah, actually if she has a bull calf, I might, depending on what it is, I might raise it to breed some heifers with him. But we'll see what she has. Yeah, I might say this yet, but here in the US, time changed last night. In the spring, we always spring forward, they call it, and in the fall we fall back. So in the spring they set it ahead an hour, and in the fall they back it back an hour. They've been talking about doing away with that, but I'm not sure how that's all working out. But yeah, it's kind of a pain in the neck, really. Especially for us farmers. The older I get, the worse I dislike it. But yeah, like this morning, well, yesterday afternoon we would have milked a half an hour early, and then with time change this morning, it would have been like milking an hour early. And I don't know, it takes me a good 2 weeks to get my internal clock readjusted, I guess you would say. And it's in the spring, it's a little harder to get up in the morning, and yeah, like tonight we're going to bed here. It seems like we're going to bed an hour early than what we normally did, but yeah, then in the fall when it falls back, it's easier to get up in the morning because you gain an hour, but then in the evening it's, yeah, you get tired and you're ready to go to bed before it's actually bedtime according to the clock. So. But anyway, yeah, it's just part of it. So, like I said, hopefully they'll do away with that sometime, and yeah, we'll get back to normal life. Red and white bull calf here, he just seemed maybe a little on the thin side. And his mom's, the one that I said has got some age to her, her udder's pretty big, so I'm wondering if he wasn't able to quite nurse right. So tube fed him with a little bit of colostrum to maybe give him a little extra pep. So bull calves are worth too much to not try your best to keep them going. Yeah, they're really selling good. Yeah, I'll maybe show you some video. Here's a bunch of heifer calves that were born in the last 3 or 4 days. This one was actually just born yesterday. That was probably 2 days ago. They're both linebacks. Here's a little Holstein. She was born probably about 3 days ago out of a first calf heifer. Here's another Holstein, black and white Holstein. Here's another red lineback. She's a really nice lineback. She's probably 3 or 4 days old maybe. I'd have to look on my chart and calendar. Of the 5 we had born today, 3 of them are bull calves and 2 of them are heifer calves. Cows getting ready to head in. One more thing I wanted to mention. Yeah, I'd mentioned before about what we give our calves when they're born. We always dip their navels with iodine. That's very important step, I feel. I didn't used to be quite so strict about that, but yeah, when they're born, their navel is there under their belly, obviously, and if it's quicker you can get them disinfected and to start drying up, the better off you. Yeah, otherwise they can get some germs to kind of seep or pull up through their belly button and into their system, and germs or bacteria. But yeah, if you dip them with iodine, they start drying up. And one thing I found out that's very helpful too, if you dip them with iodine and then a couple hours later take hydrated lime, we have a little scoop in a bag of lime there, and just kind of douse it good, like with the powder of the lime. And between the iodine and that lime, man, they dry up in a hurry. Usually within 10-12 hours they're like completely dried up. Yeah, so we dip their navels and then give them 2 types of gel. There's an optimizer gel we give them, and then a tri-shield gel. And both of them would be to have different vaccinate or help the calf against different types of scours, and also have build their immune system up. And just the one has 3 different strands of immunization against 3 different strands of scours, and the other one would be some scours and help to build their immune system as a whole. So, but yeah, between those 2 and different things we do, we normally don't have a whole lot of trouble with scours in our calves. Not saying we never do, but it's very, very rare to lose a calf from scours. But yeah, it's all part of the learning curve and what works. We also vaccinate the cows when we dry them off with a product called Endovac. It's specifically vaccine put together for cows that boost their immune system, plus pass on some immunities to the calf that's in their womb. So yeah, between a combination of different things, it's just it's always a learning curve though. About the time you think you got something figured out, it seems like something else starts happening, and you got to do something a little different. But this has been working for us for quite a while, and definitely is a big help. I might show this too here. If you have any trouble, like any calf that we do notice it's a little bit off, or maybe not feeling like it's up to, like it's got its energy levels good, or if we do have one that gets a little touch of scours, here's a product we found that works tremendously well. It's called Kickstart, and we've had them already where they were kind of really half lethargic and just not feeling very good, and you give them a packet of this and use a tube feeder, mix it in with water, and yeah, use a tube feeder and put it in their esophagus so that, yeah, that way, because sometimes they're lethargic enough they won't drink. But yeah, if you put that tube feeder or put this kickstart powder and tube feed them with that, usually within a day. We had one here probably 2 months ago. My daughter was feeding the calves and she said, this one calf's really sick, it's just laying out flat, and that was the worst one we've had for a long time. And I gave it a packet of this, and we also I know this is off label, but yeah, if you squirt a couple cc's of penicillin in their mouth, yeah, between those two things, I don't know what that does, but my dad would have done that for years, and we've done it for years too. He's the one that taught me about it.